Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Living Room. This is Season 1, Episode 12, where we discuss real topics with real people having real conversations. On today's topic, we're going to be speaking about police brutality and racism in America. We need to figure out what solutions need to be put in place. We're also going to examine some things that's going on currently right now. My name is Chris Simmons. I'm your host of the Living Room, and I'm going to start with Brittany introducing herself, and we're going to go counterclockwise.
Hello, my name is Brittany. A little about me. I am a licensed hairstylist here in California. Ta-da!
Darla?
Oh, counterclockwise. That's too complicated. Hi, I'm Darla Robinson. I'm a working actress in LA, and I also own a couple of restaurants. I'm the oldest one, obviously, on the board, which makes me the wisest. And I've got 5 kids, 4 grandkids, and that's probably enough for now.
Awesome.
My name is Kwame Thompson. I am an attorney living and practicing in downtown Atlanta. I've practiced law for 20 years, and I've taught criminal law for 10 years.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you guys on the show. This is going to be a good discussion for this episode. So let's just get right into it. So, it's been circulating on CNN, NBC, Fox News, everywhere that people are lobbying and trying to get a defunding bill for the police and what it can mean for us. I want to see what you guys thought about that, because when I look at this and defunding the police as from a Black person, now, okay, let's do it this way. As overall general, I'm like, okay, if we defund it, then there won't be a lot of people to protect us. However, as a Black person, I'm like, they don't protect us anyways. I mean, literally, as a Black person, I'm more scared of like a Brittany or a Darla calling the cops on me and I can lose my life. It's a very different feeling for me. And that's why I'm like, when it comes to police and everything, and I used to see my brother get pulled over every time by the same cop, I'm like, okay, do you have anything else to do? Is this what our taxpayer dollars are going to? You just sit on the side of the road all day? I mean, like literally. And when I started thinking of things like that, I'm like, maybe they do need to be.
No. That would be a very bad idea. We do not defund all the schools because of a few bad teachers. We don't defund all the hospitals because of a few bad doctors. So we need to keep this in perspective, because if you want to take away more police from LA, you better be buying yourself a gun collection and learning how to use it yourself.
So what do you think needs to happen, Darla? Like, if it's not the funding, what measures can we put in place? Because them killing Black people like Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and all the other ones is not working.
Well, it's just like my good friend Heather. Her brother was running barefoot, obviously unarmed, on the beach and was shot. So police brutality, if somebody's a brutal and a bully and a bad police, I'm against suggesting that they that way to everyone. So yes, I'm against police brutality, but you can't defund. What about the 95% that are great police? I mean, why don't we defund actors because of a few bad actors? I mean, we could play this game everywhere. That's not a good game.
That's interesting.
I agree. And when you put it to that perspective, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Well, actors aren't killing people, and I don't think it's a game. When I first heard about the abolition of prisons and abolishing police departments movement, I kind of was confused also. I really didn't understand it until I started to look more into it. One statistic that I stated earlier is that in the month of March 2015, the police in the US killed more people than the police in the UK had killed from 1900 up to March 2015. So we have a problem of brutality in America, period, because that includes Black and white. Now, when we talk about just African Americans, it is more, and we're less of the population. But the problem with police brutality is across the board. I've seen Caucasians have the same type of outcome, and it's not right. And when you have these bad actors, it doesn't matter race. And I can tell you this, there are a lot of Black cops who have committed police brutality against Black men. So at the end of the day, and that's one thing I said about genocide earlier, because we are getting it from all sides. you know, we are more likely to die than any other group violently in America. Now, since January the 1st, 2015, 1,252 Black people have been shot and killed by the police, according to the Washington Post database tracking police shootings. That doesn't even include people who died by other means. So George Floyd would not have been in that statistic. Ahmaud Arbery, who was killed by a former police officer, would not have been in that statistic. So it is an epidemic, and we need to address it. Now, what I do understand about the defunding movement, and I'm learning more about it, and the abolition of prison movement, is that statistics have shown that when we over-police communities, crime goes up. And that was shown with New York stop and frisk laws. When you over-police community, crime goes up. And when you have what they call window-breaking policing, like calling the police on petty criminals, like what was allegedly done in the George Floyd murder. He was allegedly accused of passing a fake $20 bill. So crime goes up when you have over-policing. And so what we need to get back to is community policing. My grandfather in St. Louis, he was a member of an organization called the White Coats, and they were a group of men who used to police the projects in St. Louis, Missouri. So I think that we have to have some middle ground somewhere.
Yeah, and when you also look at it, I'm like, okay, this was the Central Park issue that happened. The white woman called police on Black man.
Please don't come close to me.
Sir, I'm asking you to stop recording me.
Please don't come close to me.
Please take your phone off.
Please don't come close to
And
me.
I'm taking a picture and calling the cops.
Please call the cops. Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life. I'm sorry, I'm in the Ramble, and there is a man, African-American, he has a bicycle helmet. He is recording me and threatening me and my dog. There is an African-American man, I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog.
This right here, I'm like, police are being called and money's being wasted on things like this. And now they're trying to pass bills for people that falsely call police on Black people. They're trying to pass that bill, which they should. I think it's called the Amy Cooper bill or something. But it's just circling right now. It's just a thought. But with this stuff right here, I'm like, you know, police officers not fighting real crime. They're fighting, you know, people's complaints, you know, and things of that nature. And I'm like, this is just not necessary. And when you see white people like this call police on them, you know what they know. They see what's going on TV. They're like, oh, if I don't like you, I can have one of these cops come and kill you. And I'll get away with it. And that's what they be thinking in their head. And when you see tons of videos like this, I'm like, they see what goes on TV. They're like, oh, well, that cop's gonna get off, and if I don't like somebody, I can just have them killed. And that's how I kind of feel as a Black man. What was you about to say?
But look at it from a small business owner. Now, between the California between felony and misdemeanor, which made a lot of prisoners leave. I understand there's some reasoning for that, because you don't want somebody's record to be so criminalized that they can never get a job or have a second chance. I get that. But on top of that, and COVID, getting them all out because they may catch COVID, the crime rate has gone sky high. And I was talking to police and security around me, because kids, little gangs were coming in. Once they come in and get cups of, yogurt or the tip jar or whatever and leave, I can't stop them. What am I going to do? Get out my baseball bat, then I get charged. So, I'm like, and you can never get anybody.
Well, you should hit them.
And they can make fun of that. Y'all can make fun of that if you want. You can sit there and say, well, they didn't steal a mink coat. They didn't steal a diamond ring. Well, that's what we sell, okay? Yeah. So, and it's still thievery, and they're still getting by with it. And one cop just put his head in his hands. He goes, I just hate California because our hands are so tied here. And now New York has a no bail release thing going on. That's ridiculous. It does not help stop crime at all. Just okay, now there is no crime. Okay, now this one's not a crime. Okay, we're gonna let you out in 2 days, so don't worry about it. You'll be back on the streets. And that's not working.
Yeah, and this is what I recommend. Because when you're looking from our perspective, and I see it from your perspective too, Darla. We look from a Black person's perspective, they're not protecting our communities at all. They don't protect the Black community. We get called, the police, we call them, they're investigating us. I've had that happen to me, my brother.
Yeah.
Their friends had that happen to them. They're only protecting white people. And I see how y'all can see it from y'all perspective. And I definitely understand that. But when it comes to Black people, we like to fund them because they dang sure don't do nothing for us. And
yeah,
Darla
and Brittany, I'd like to say, just as an attorney, I tell you, with 20 years experience, I can sincerely say that, one of the things that you all talked about, being in rural communities, you don't see a lot of us, and a lot of times what you do see is on the television. So the media plays a lot into it also, because statistics show that African Americans commit crimes at the same rate as other races, but we're over-criminalized. So we already have that negative connotation in people's minds. Now, Chris said it happened to him, and Chris knows it happened to me. And see, a lot of times we are, we were victimized, and it doesn't matter who it's by, whether it's other Blacks or whites, because Chris and I have had this experience. I've had this experience as a lawyer with someone, accused me of a crime that I didn't commit and called the cops. And it doesn't matter, because all they see is a Black man. And that's why we have to do something different. We have to change that. Whether we are criminalized by Blacks, whites, or the police, we are the ones that are being murdered, being put in jail. And outside of personal experiences with myself and my family members who have been murdered, I have an uncle who was shot and killed, another uncle who was stabbed to death, a first cousin who was shot to death, a brother who was shot to death, a nephew who was shot to death, and 2 cousins who overdosed on drugs. So when we have our family dinners and when we have our family reunions, you have a lot of pain and oppression in the room. And you don't have that in white families. I have a cousin who works at General Motors, and he said, man, every week, we're dealing with a Black man who died or a family member. And he said, you don't see that with the whites.
Well, hold on. My son was in Baltimore. And thank God he didn't die, but he and his friends came back to the car tires were slashed. They called the police. We'll be here on the side of the road with slashed tires. We need to change tires. So they informed them. So he's military. He has to remove his shotgun from the trunk to get to the spare, puts it on the ground carefully, throws a blanket over it. Of course, this is inner city Baltimore. Guess who's calling on him? And next thing they know, they got everybody's got guns pointed, they're cuffed, they're thrown in jail for the night. So
yes.
This runs both ways. And
no, I agree, and that's what I'm saying is that when it comes to brutality, that police brutality is across the board. Because in my instance, sometimes it's Black officers who are doing it, and if there's other Black people who are calling the cops on us.
Exactly.
So I'm looking at it as a point of we're being the victim, but we know it happens across the board.
Right.
But that's why something has to change. Something has to change.
And this is why I recommend that what they need to do, deregulation might not be the way we do things, What we need to do is that anybody that's had any type of, because companies do this all the time, issues, racism issues, excessive violence against people, any of that stuff, they need to do a clean sweep. Get all of them up out here. Effective immediately. We having a new reform. You had 19 issues in your file. And you should have been fired a long time ago. It's time for you to go. Because there are those good officers, and me and Brittany talked about this before, that do a good job, and they're being looked in with the bad ones because when people see it, they say, well, hell, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, all these people, Philando Castile, where is the good cops? They're like, where are they when things are happening? They said they should be here, and they're never there. Go ahead, Brianna.
Did you see that issue in Buffalo where the older gentleman had their helmet in his hand, and he went to go hand the helmet back to the officers, and he shoved him on the ground, and his head was bleeding?
Yes, I've seen that.
Okay.
He was like 70 years old. I was like, what's the point of that? Come on.
And then, did you see the one guy who was coming by was going to try to help him up, and the other officer pushed him?
Pushed him. Yes.
We have a problem. That's why people are talking about deregulation. And that's why people are talking about deregulation, because there was a lot. It had to be around 30 cops in that picture frame.
If
I'm
not
like,
more.
tell me now, what officer did not put that man in check for doing that to that man? And that's what we're talking about. So that's why I said anybody with any records got to go. Anybody that had any issues, like that got like it was covered up, they need to reinvestigate those murders, and they need to be charged with second-degree murder. If they see anything in their timeline or thing, they need to go to jail and prison, because that's bad when we hold our military to a standard and we don't hold our police to a standard.
Yeah.
I said the military, when they go overseas, because I have military in my family, Darla does too. When they go overseas, they can't just go over there and shoot people. They can't just go over there and be shoving people like that because it's an international issue. But even if they know somebody has a bomb or they don't, they can't just shoot them. They have to stop. You know, they can't do that. Cops here, they don't even stop the car. They shoot you right then and there. That's a problem. I said you have 18 and 19-year-old kids more trained than these 20 veterans on the police force. That's a problem. So that's why when they came to regulation, I was like, let them go. I said, because they're not doing anything, and then you hire a new group of people in there with no records, no issues. I don't care with any county. They should be banned from going to any county applying for any job as an officer, because obviously they're not psychologically there, and they're too retarded enough to sit here and decipher if somebody's a danger or not.
That is a major point, Chris. I want to hook you up with my mother. My mother is a former state representative in Missouri. And so her and my brother, before he passed, they had a bill called the Betty Thompson bill. And what it did, it looked at police and their HR records, and it made sure that their records followed them to the different municipality and police agencies, because they had a problem with the same thing then, with over 10 years ago when before my brother passed, with an officer in his agency who shot and killed someone. And so his record was closed.
And they should, that should be passed. And another thing, and this is what gets me, this is not just about, because I'm an equal opportunity employer. This is also against some of these Black people. Like, we had this officer, I know y'all seen him before, because I thought I had it up. Here it is. This officer right here, forgot his name, because it don't really matter no more, but he was all on Fox News. This is the officer, and he had a lot of bad things in his police department. This is a Black man. D is the Uncle Tom of Uncle Tom's. Sheriff Dave Clark. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then you have this girl like Candace Owens, who also fans the Flames. She has an issue with Black identity crisis. She's in there saying that George Floyd was responsible for his own death and everything. This was the same girl, and this is from Madame Noir, this was the same girl that sued the mayor's son for almost $35,000 for racial discrimination. And she used the NAACP to help her do it. And then on top of that, when she got the help, now she's on Fox News. Oh, well, police brutality doesn't exist and racism doesn't exist in my time. People like this, I tell Black, white, Asian, they need to watch out for two-faced people like this. Because people like this, they sit here and they keep fanning the flames of this stuff. We know that police brutality is an issue in America. And what she does, she get on here for a check from Fox News or whatever, and she say these things. And that's the same thing with Stacey Dash. And that's why I said with Candace Owens, and this is not meant to be mean, but it's meant to be fact. Stacey Dash used to say the same thing about police brutality on Black people and things that nature, or police brutality on people, period. And now her white husband called the cops on her and had her thrown out. And they came and arrested her. This is a place where she sleeps at. This is a place where she sleeps at. So I'm just waiting for Candace Owens to have her moment too. Because I said you cannot continue to keep fanning these flames when people are trying to come together, because I like this quote, united we stand, divided we fall. We need everybody. We need white, we need Black, we need Hispanic, we need Asian, everybody to come together to do reform. And that's what needs to happen and take place here. When you have people like Candace Owens, or you have this guy like Greyjoy here, who's sitting here saying things on social media about Black people or something, that's a problem for me. And
he said he's not Black.
We need to have reform on here.
He said that he's not Black, and he said that most of the Blacks, he said all of the Blacks that he's seen who were victims of police brutality brought it on themselves, that they were not, cooperating.
He looks Black. All it takes is one time for him to get, all it takes is one time for an officer to drag him out of the park or treat them like they treated Darla's son, and he will get a different opinion.
Well, he is Black. He's Afro-Latino. He is in
he claims himself Latino. You know how it is. People have an identity crisis, and we'll talk about that on another episode.
Just because you say you're not Black doesn't mean you're not Black. But to you all's point, again, we have Caucasians who have been on the front lines with us in our cause for freedom. And we have to have that, because that white silence is killing us. We have to continue to have white allies. And I don't care if you're white or Black. when you are causing harm to Black people, that you're continuing that systemic racism and oppression, then you need to be taken care of. You need to be taken down. I don't give the Candace Owens and the Greg Jims and all of them and Stacey, I don't give them any attention. I don't give them any attention. We just know that there is a history of systemic racism in America, and a lot of it has to do with the value of Black life. Yeah, of course, there's some Black people who don't value some other Black people's life also. And you have some white people in this system that doesn't value Black life. And that's what we have to reverse.
All right.
It doesn't matter.
We got to talk about our company and product service of the day. Okay. I hate to cut you off, but we are running out of time. I think we're a little over. So we're going to be talking about a company product of the day, which is Kia. Now, I've had a Kia vehicle for 5 years, actually. And Kia is actually not a bad company. And the vehicle, I mean, literally, got me to point A to point B, didn't have any issues with the vehicle. They got great warranties. A good company. The only problem I had with Kia was that the value of Kia vehicles, for some reason, dropped significantly. Like my vehicle was only a 2015, and when I checked to go see the value of it in 2018, I paid, what was it, $18,000 for it. It was already at like $6,000. That's not good equity in a vehicle. So I want to see if you guys know anybody with Kias, what you think about the brand, etc.
I know that they have a plant here in Georgia, so they brought jobs, and they're helping strengthen the economy here in Georgia. And from everything that I've heard about them, it's a good brand.
Yeah, I just drove it once and loved it. I thought about buying one, but I haven't yet.
I've never had one. I had 2 girlfriends who had the same exact car, and then they ended up with the same exact problem.
Yeah.
Transmission. So
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, Kia stands for to rise from Asia. That's what Kia stands for.
Huh.
Well, I'm going to end up sharing our photo and video today from Darla. You know, we always balance out the mood afterwards.
This is for my grandchildren.
Well, let me go ahead and get it opened up right now for you, and then go ahead and explain your photo or video today.
Yeah.
Oh.
yes.
He's helping in the protest, but he doesn't look too happy about it. Maybe he's just not. Maybe he's not happy with the whole situation.
Wow.
So anyway, yeah, my daughter-in-law sent that over. So my kids have all been out protesting, so that's cool.
Wow.
Adorable.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much for being on this episode of Living Room. We'll see you guys on episode 13, and log on. Hi, thanks for watching The Living Room. If you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook pages. In addition to that, if you feel like you would like to be a co-host on our show, please make sure to submit your audition tape to thelivingroomtvshow.com, or you can also submit it on one of our social media pages. In addition to that, make sure to submit your audition tape and the reason why you would like to be on our show. We'll see you next episode. Have a good day. This episode of The Living Room is sponsored by Juiced Up, Way Smoothies on the Go. Juiced Up is a California-based company that offers smoothies and acai bowls on the go. The company accepts deliveries, and you can place your order by going to their Instagram page at JuicedUpAF, or for more information regarding the products, you can go to their website at www.juicedupaf.com.